With the Switch 2 just getting its official announcement, many gamers have been speculating on what Pokemon games will release with the brand new console. Pokemon is one of the largest franchises in the world. With multiple anime shows and movies, a card game, and the entire video game series, Pokemon is absolutely massive. So, what Pokemon games should we expect to release on the Switch 2? Here are all the confirmed titles and rumored ones. At the moment, there is only one confirmed Pokemon title set to release on the Switch 2. Pokemon Legends Z through A. Pokemon Legends Z through A is a follow-up to the popular Pokemon Legends Arceus title, which released back in January of 2022. The first game followed a trainer exploring the Sinnoh region where Diamond and Pearl took place, except with a twist. The game takes place decades before any other Pokemon game. The Legends series is supposed to give players a new feel of the world of Pokemon, showcasing what the world looked like years before Ash or any other famous characters were born. Z through A, like Arceus, takes place a long time before any of these other games, except this time in the region of Kalos. Made famous by the popular titles X and Y, Kalos is a region modeled after France. It has various Pokemon that were never seen before until the release of X and Y, and now players get to explore the region's origins. At the moment, we know very little about Z through A, other than that it is set to release in late 2025, which will be after the Switch 2 is rumored to release. However, a Pokemon Direct usually happens at the end of February each year, where we may get more details on the game. So let's talk about the rumored games, because there are a few that players are super excited about. When it comes to rumored games within the Pokemon franchise, it would first be smart to look at a brand new generation. Since the early days of the Game Boy, Pokemon has been releasing new games with new generations of Pokemon for players to explore. It is highly likely that the Switch 2 will be no different. In fact, the first Switch had two different sets of games released showcasing two new generations. In 2019, Pokemon Sword and Shield released, showcasing Gen 8. In 2022, Scarlet and Violet were released, showcasing Gen 9. So, this means that more than likely fans will get a Gen 10 game on the Switch 2, and maybe even a Gen 11 game. It is also important to talk about remakes. Since the days of the Game Boy Advance, Nintendo has been releasing Pokemon remakes like it's nobody's business. From Fire Red to Omega Ruby and more, remakes of past Pokemon games are almost always a sure bet to release on Nintendo handheld devices. In fact, Nintendo released not one, but two Pokemon remakes on the Switch, Let's Go Eevee and Let's Go Pikachu, which were remakes of the first Pokemon games, Red and Blue, and then Shining Pearl and Brilliant Diamond, which were remakes of the original Diamond and Pearl that released on the Nintendo DS. If we are going by Pokemon's past timeline of released remakes, then it would make sense for them to remake Black and White, which originally released on the Nintendo DS. However, with how they released Let's Go Eevee and Let's Go Pikachu, we could be surprised with a different remake. Either way, it is almost certain that Pokemon will release some type of remake on the Switch 2, and hopefully soon too. So, what type of Pokemon games are you looking forward to most on the Switch 2? Subscribe to stay tuned for more Pokemon and esports news at esports.gg.